Linebacker Eric Gentry proves to be a unicorn during dominant practices at the Shrine Bowl.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America, all because of you. We're talking about standout prospects at the Shrine Bowl after, 3 days of practice. We're going to get into offensive side and the defensive side from linebacker Eric Gentry and why he's proving to be a 6'6 unicorn to Iowa having an actual offensive prospect worth talking about. So let's get it started with Eric Gentry. Eric Gentry, 6'6", 225 pounds. Guy that plays the linebacker position, second level of the defense for USC. He's moved from between the weak side of will linebacker role to the Mike and middle linebacker role. And he's had himself a strong 3 days of practice, especially the first 2 days. He was almost nearly flawless, felt like. Because when you hear 6'6", 225 for a linebacker, the instant thought, especially when you see his body type, you're thinking, man, this is not going to work in the NFL. And anybody that feels that way, heck, I felt that way. I was like, man, I don't know. Not at linebacker, right? Because typically you think about guys and you're like, well, what's his play style? And is he physical enough? Is he going to be aggressive enough? Like, is he going to be able to match what we need, right, at the linebacker position? And so far, through 3 practices, he's done that at the Shrine Bowl, man. He talking about triggering down into, from the second level of the defense, running the alley, meeting running backs in the lane, attacking the line of scrimmage with that physicality, with that ferociousness that we like to see. Eric Gentry, I believe, had made himself some money because with his body type, and I'm gonna tell you where he really has helped himself and showcase is the versatility he's shown. This is a guy that you probably can utilize in somewhat of a, I would say, hybrid linebacker, overhang, safety type of role. Okay. Again, yes, he is built. He's built like a defensive back, 6'6", 225. First of all, there's not many linebackers that are true 225, and that's thin and just slim, right? From top to bottom. It's just, that's not a thing really. But what's really uncommon and why he's a unicorn, there aren't 6'6" linebackers. So you think about, hey, what I could do with him is I can use him as a tight end defensive specialist, because he showcased the movement skills and coverage, the ability he showed really good instincts. I think they ran it in team drill and in in like 7-on-7s and everything. He's gotten his hands up when he couldn't get to the quarterback, with 6'6", be able to get off the ground, get those long arms up. He's got he's like a pterodactyl, man. Like he's just trying to paint the picture for you guys. He's like a pterodactyl. So just watching Eric Gentry and seeing what he's able to do, you feel good about maybe using him and utilizing him in that role as a pseudo just hybrid DB linebacker. Because if you're 6'6", most tight ends are, prototypical around that 6'5", 6'6", and then of course on the 99th percentile, you get 6'7", 6'8", right? But most of them are going to outweigh him, 250, 260. Okay. Like I wouldn't want him against big Darnell Washington from Pittsburgh, because Darnell's like 280, right? Darnell's going to be able to box him out, at the catch point, right? Under, big center with a small forward in the paint, throw it to him, right? Let him go ahead and back him down. But I think Gentry helped himself. And, day 3, watching the film in the one-on-ones, he had some issues with some of the running backs, but listen, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm gonna tell you why. He's 6'6". He's tall, he's long-limbed, long-legged. Yeah, I expect him to have some transitional issues with these route running, quick twitch, 5'8" running backs. Like, that's understandable. But if I can get him up against tight ends and things of that nature, I feel good with that matchup for the most part. And then what I was getting ready to allude to in the team drill, I think it might have been the first day or even day 1 or 2 of practice. I think they tried to run a tight end leak off of play action, and he stepped forward, against the run action, and then he saw like that again, the peripheral vision, the instincts. He identified and felt and saw that tight end getting ready, who was selling the block, and then I believe he's selling the block, and he tried to leak back over on kind of a kind of that loop route. I think it's the wheel route, kind of in the sense, right? Working back from play side all the way back to the opposite hash or sideline, and he flipped his hips, got underneath got behind the tight end and underneath the throw and underneath the route, to where basically he's in phase. And with him being 6'6", 225, that's just not a situation you're going to throw that pass, right? As a quarterback, you're not going to test those waters. So I think Eric Gentry, again, USC linebacker, who could be a versatile kind of chess piece for a right defensive player, for a right defensive coach. I mean, you think about what Mike McDonald is able to do with his defense. I think you can add a guy like that to his second level and even third level, and just at the end of the day, it's positionless defense, man. When you can have multiple guys on the field who can do multiple things and wear multiple hats, it just makes it very, very difficult for opposing quarterbacks. But guys, next up, let's talk about it, man. Caden Wetjen, Iowa wide receiver. The Iowa has a guy that I think should be drafted a little outside of the top 100. But I'm drafting them, guys, and I'm telling you right now, Wetjen is the guy for me. 5'9", 196 pounds, and I tell you right here, guys, like this is a player that really, I think he's had the best week. I don't know if there's anybody best couple of days. I don't think anybody's had a better time and produced better at the Shrine Bowl than Caden Wetjen. Again, 5'9", 195. On the season, he's not going to wow you, right? From a receiving standpoint, in terms of yards, PFF has him as 158 yards receiving and 1 receiving touchdown, right? And then you look at the rushing, 14 carries, 76 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns and everything. So no, you're not going to, like, the numbers. This is where you have to turn on the tape and watch the film. But as a returner, guys, he had a kick return for a touchdown this year. 17 returns, 484 yards, over 28.5 yards per kick return. And he had 21 this season, 21 punt returns, 563 yards, 26.8, almost 27 yards per return, and 3 punt return touchdowns. So 4 touchdowns came as a returner. Caden Wetjen is, like, he's been one of the best receivers at the Shrine Bowl, okay? And that lets me know, Iowa, you did not utilize him all the way. You did not utilize him correctly. Yes, you get the manufacturer's touch stuff. You're going to do a lot of things, but, man, you guys didn't do enough. You didn't do enough with this young man, because I think he could be a legitimate slot receiver at the next level. He can handle the manufactured touches, the jet sweeps and jet motions and all that, screens and everything, because that punt return ability, he knows how to make guys miss. He knows how to make you miss in the phone booth. But it's the route running that I really came away impressed with, right? When we watched last night, watched the dominant performance from JSN, and I'm not calling him JSN, I'm saying when you watch the route running from JSN, the salesmanship, it's no wasted motions or movements, and it's no indicators on his breaks. You don't know what he's running. And that, I love that with Caden Wetjen as well, because he does a great job of that. And there's reps of him in one-on-ones where he attacks vertically, squares up the DB, and when that DB, it's almost perfect timing too. The instincts to know, hey, once I get this close to this guy, he's going to try to get hands on. DB goes to two-hand jam him, quick little swim move, the knock down the hands, gets past him. But what he doesn't do, okay, I'm running an over route, I don't just immediately break on the over. No, I take 2 steps. I think it's called a stair step technique. You get 2 steps upfield, make him then have to turn and get vertical, and then break back across the middle of the field and create even more separation. But in team drills, right? You're talking about in the red zone, having him in that kind of motion into that stack set, and then gets man to man. he's off the ball. And that's kind of how Cooper Kupp was used in LA with the delayed release. He breaks on the option route outside, on the outbreaker. Easy pitch and catch for the quarterback. This is a guy that can get open and get open frequently, in my opinion. And the NFL team, he should be at the combine. I want to see him run. He should be at the combine. But I think these are two of the best guys in terms of what they've done for their draft stocks down at the Shrine Bowl. But guys, coming up next, we're getting into more prospects that help themselves at the Shrine Bowl and why Harold Perkins Jr. might just have a place at linebacker. The big game is set and it's almost here, and there's no better way to stay locked into every moment than with PrizePicks, the daily fantasy app where it always feels good to be right. With football season coming down to its final stretch, now is the perfect time to close it out strong. PrizePicks makes watching the game even more exciting by letting you build simple lineups around player projections. No drafts, no waiting, just football action all the way through the playoffs. PrizePicks is incredibly easy to get started. Pick two or more players and choose more or less on their projections. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks is good to be right. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not just you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when the momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but I never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can take part live in a market powered by people. So you're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. More standout prospects from the 2026 Shrine Bowl after 3 practices. That's what we're getting into next. But guys, first of all, thanks for being an everydayer with us. And if you want the show ad-free, check out the Everydayer Club. Guys, just go to LockedOnNFLDraft.supercast.com. And when you do that, you can subscribe, and then you can become a member of our invite members only Discord channel where you can talk to us or join any of the Locked On Discord servers. So go subscribe and check it out. Let's get started though. Let's talk about the fact that Harold Perkins, linebacker who we all knew when we saw Harold Perkins as a freshman at LSU, we were like, man, this is the next great pass rusher, right? I remember somebody was on Twitter. I think he lived in LSU, like a news person or whatever. He was just like trying to tell me Harold Perkins was better than Will Anderson. Newsflash, that was wrong. But yes, 6'1", 220, 222 is where he's listed as. And he's played linebacker the last 2-3 years. He got hurt last year in 2024. He made the transition at first in 2023 because at 2022, 10 sacks, 13 QB hits, 18 hurries and pressures. Yeah, and then he had like 4 forced fumbles and everything. So think about it like this. His first 2 years, 163, 162 pass rush snaps. 2024, injured season, 45. 2025, only 80. Didn't even eclipse 100 pass rush snaps. But he's learning more and becoming more comfortable as a true linebacker, in my opinion. And watching the film of him at the Shrine Bowl, I see a guy that the instincts are getting better. He's processing quicker. He's diagnosing run versus pass a lot quicker, and that's a great thing. And that's something you need to have as a linebacker in the NFL. Hey, how quickly do I trigger all of that stuff? It matters, guys. It absolutely matters. So I think what Isaiah Simmons said, hey, the closer you get to the line of scrimmage, the quicker the action is. So being able to identify run versus pass and diagnose what's going on quickly and processing that information. Yeah, you see him like understand how to meet. He's meeting the running back in the lane. He's beating. Sometimes I saw some plays where he beat the running back to the spot, and I'm like, okay, he's already a really good athlete. He's explosive. He's dynamic. He's got good range. But then when you're playing fast, your fast twitch muscles aren't hindered and held back because of the mental processing. So the more he gets comfortable, the quicker he processes. This guy can actually play the linebacker position. He's not afraid to tackle. Okay. Now, again, 6'1", 220 to 222, maybe 225. Yeah, that's also very light. Talking about Eric Gentry, that's light as well. And you don't have the unicorn height at 6'6" to make up for it in a sense. But I do think that Harold Perkins helped himself. I think he's looked decent in coverage and be able to drop off into a spot. And then it's still I think I was listening to an interview. He said that someone asked him, hey, how do you knowing that he's playing linebacker, how do you still like maintain that natural pass rush ability? And his response was basically paraphrasing, it's God-given. Like it's a God-given ability and talent. And I 100% agree with him, because even though, yes, he didn't have to rush the passer as heavily last year, right? 80 pass rush snaps. He still had 11 pressures, 5 QB hits, 3 sacks. He still had a forced fumble, right? Like that's just what it is. Like he's still able to get to the quarterback, and he understands, hey, I have the low center of gravity. I got the first step quickness and explosiveness. I have the oily hips. I can dip and bend and turn the corner and flatten to the quarterback. So yes, and then you think about those abilities and that athletic profile. Now you put that into a situation where, hey, you know what? We can blitz you up the A gap. We can blitz you up the A gap. And it's those type of things that I feel good about. It's those type of things I feel absolutely good about when it pertains to Harold Perkins Jr. But the other guy that is talking about defense here that has shown up, and this is a guy we talked about last college football season in 2024, transferred from Miami and Maryland. He went to Florida State and everything. And it didn't reach the pinnacle that I think the draft community was hoping. But Darrell Jackson Jr., 6'5", 335 pounds. This is a big dude, man. He's big, he's physical, he's gritty, he's nasty when it pertains to the run game. They ran some combo blocks. I think it was day 3 of practice. And yeah, man, I remember watching T'Vondre Sweat just part the Red Sea in those like combo blocks, like being able to deconstruct blocks. And Darrell Jackson, you just see him get upfield in such a hurry. If he's able to get that hand inside on your chest plate, because he uses the long arm well, it's good luck, good night for you. He's so good at being able to drive guys back and reset the line of scrimmage, lock out the arms. But not only that, he uses the off arm, right? So if he's using the right arm to drive that guard back, that center, he holds at bay with the left arm. This is a strong man, guys. He is powerful. And he is physical. So I think he's helped himself a lot in teams that, again, in the NFL. Yes, as a quarterback passing league. I know we can't forget that, right? But teams are running the football, okay? Teams are running the football. And if you need to stop the run, Darrell Jackson Jr. is proven on tape, and he's proven at the Shrine Bowl on film as well at the practices that he can do just that. He's got that ability to drive you backwards and apply that pressure to you, and as well as kind of collapse the pocket into the lap of the quarterback. So just want to let you guys know, this is not a guy to sleep on in this draft class. Somebody's going to get a steal with him when they draft him. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes off the board back in the 3rd, top of the 4th round, maybe a little bit higher. Hopefully he gets an invite to the combine. He might be somebody that destroys the 225, the bench press reps. I think he might just dismantle it. He's that physical, that strong, and that physically gifted. But guys, coming up next, we're going to close the show out talking about Avery Smith. Toledo has another defensive back we need to talk about. Absolutely. And Dillon Bell, wide receiver out of Georgia, turning some heads. He turned mine with the way he was able to run routes and get open. I like what I saw from him. Let's talk about that coming up next. If you've ever hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Hiring Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot for being our everydayers. Avery Smith, 5'10", 185-pound cornerback out of Toledo. Yes, another one. Like DJ Khaled, another one. Guys, we have Quinyon Mitchell, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, EMW, the safety that does it all, who I think should be at the Senior Bowl and everything. And now we have Avery Smith, and his tape and one-on-ones and everything has been outstanding. This dude is so competitive. He's good in press man. He's good in man coverage. There's reps where he's getting hands-on, rerouting guys. He's showcasing the ability to mirror and match guys with soft press. When you try to foot fire him, he's doing a good job with motor steps and things of that nature. Good base, so he's not throwing off balance if contact is greater from the wide receiver. And then the ability to turn, flip his hips, and get back in the phase if you cross his face. Even down the field, he got beat. It looked like he was going to get beat on a deep ball in a one-on-one situation. And Avery Smith just the recovery speed, got back in phase, and to the point where he forced the receiver to push off fully extended to make the catch because he closed the space so quickly and he almost was right back in the hip pocket, which would have made the catch very difficult for the wide receiver. Wide receiver said, screw it, I'm going to push off, ref through the flag, OPI, right? Or at least it should have been OPI from what I saw on tape. Ref through the flag, and it looked like it was going to be OPI on the wide receiver. I just think this is a guy, and then, in team drills, right? He showcases alignment versatility. 5'10", 185, maybe you're not a match for every outside wide receiver in the NFL. That's fine. Can you play the nickel? And he did. And you saw him be able to be hover around the line of scrimmage, showing kind of some mug looks and things of that nature, and then drop off, right? Disguising some coverages, can play man in the nickel, drop off into zone in the nickel. He can do different things, guys. He's what I love about him most is that aggressiveness at the catch point, not so much high pointing all the time, but hey, on ground, all right, you got some route technicians. Okay, cool. You beat me cross face on the slant or on the over route. I close the space. Ball comes and the ball arrives and I punch it through your hands. Incompletion, PBU. I'm able to do those type of things. And Avery Smith 100% does those type of things, guys. I love everything I saw from Avery Smith. I loved every single thing I saw from him on film. I think that this young man helped himself and made himself some money. This is a good cornerback group. I know Keith says he thinks it's just an okay group. Going through some of this cornerback group is deeper and more talented than meets the eye. And I like this class. I like this cornerback class, especially if the top guys are healthy, Jamar McCoy, things like that. Team is a team that will be able to get an Avery Smith and feel like, you know what, man, we got ourselves a potential starter for some years here. And build-wise, he reminds me of Cam Taylor-Britt. That's why I think he can live on the outside and play on the outside, but then also give you that slot nickel defender role as well. But also, guys, Dillon Bell, the wide receiver from Georgia. Dillon Bell, Georgia had both Kobe Young and Dillon Bell there at the Shrine Bowl. Kobe Young did some good things early. The first day, good release and things of that nature. After that, I wasn't too impressed overall from his ability to get open consistently when I did see him and everything. But Dillon Bell caught my eye multiple times. 6 foot, 6'1", 210. Man, I mean, he's got a dense, sturdy build, kind of that Deebo Samuel type of mold, and everything. But he ran better routes than I expected out of him, man. Because I know he did a lot of different things for Georgia, kind of some manufactured touches, some handoffs, being just almost a gadget guy for them at times, right? Because they look at his numbers this season. Like he's never eclipsed 500 yards receiving in any year of his career. 279 yards receiving, 27 catches on 40 targets for 2 receiving touchdowns. That's what he did this year. Now, again, I always say Georgia's offense is not good from a play calling standpoint and just maximizing their weapons. He had 109 yards rushing and 2 rushing touchdowns. Okay, so he does different things, right? He's a versatile piece for offense. But watching him run routes, I saw him, and that here's the thing I really liked. He went with speed down the field on some outside releases, and I was like, oh, wait a second. Pardon me, I'm not familiar with your game. I apologize. Dillon Bell, I saw a guy get on his high horse and take the top off. I saw him run good routes, saw him get open and separate and create space. Yeah, I think, again, in a really loaded wide receiver class, he probably doesn't go until day 3. But I wouldn't be shocked if he's somebody that we're hearing his name buzz in training camp and everything else. I'm thinking about for a couple of these guys doing some solo just draft profiles on some of these guys and everything. So, Brent, because that's what we're about to be doing. You're going to get a lot of that from us, but not just the big board. We got the big board, we're going to start dropping soon. Player positional rankings, top 10s and everything like that. But we're going to be taking these prospects and going show by show, individually, individual prospects, right? Fernando Mendoza. Like, we're not going to put you in Cade Klubnik. We're not doing that. Hey, Mendoza, pros, cons, comp, grade, like projection. We're doing that for a lot of especially the top name guys. We're doing that for as many prospects as we can to give you those undivided, like, individual scouting reports on this podcast. So, guys, if you are an everydayer, tap in, right? You already know. Stay locked in. But if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. Whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, whatever you're listening or watching on, please subscribe and stay tapped in with your boys here. Listen, I love y'all, man. Dillon Bell, again, let me close this out with him. Young man can play. Clearly, he can play one-on-ones and team drills. I'm interested. I'm gonna try to go through his film and extrapolate some reps to see what and do a scouting report on him as well. But I think he helped himself. Like, that's why I like these all-star events. Yes, you wear your helmet, but remove you from your play caller, from your quarterback, from your offensive line, from everything. Move you to a neutral situation where you can go perform and show your full skill set. Because a lot of times these colleges aren't good at maximizing. And Georgia is one of those colleges that does not maximize their offensive talent. Oscar Delt, Lucky Lawson, man, it's a lot of these cats, man, that they don't fully optimize unless you're a running back, Ladd McConkey, Brock Powers, guys of that nature. But, man, that's our show, guys. Talking about standout prospects from the Shrine Bowl. And it was a couple guys, Eric Gentry, Caden Wetjen, Darrell Jackson Jr., Avery Smith, Dillon Bell. Man, some guys that really showed out to me. I'm gonna go back through Shrine Bowl quarterback reps, and I'm gonna bring a quarterback episode on tomorrow's show as we get ready for the Shrine Bowl game. I think is on Tuesday, and we have the Senior Bowl kicking off. Unfortunately, guys, I'll let you know here, I have the flu, and because of the winter storm, all my flights were canceled, so I will be home watching film when the film drops, bringing you a lot of the analysis and breakdowns and recaps and all that good stuff. It just will be after I get my hands on the film, but I think Keith is supposed to be boots on the ground, so nonetheless, we will be there somehow, some way in person. But go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Thank you so much for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today, and everyday shot for being our everydayers. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.